All right, how's it going, everyone? So we're back recapping week 5 in our fantasy football league, and we've got it all for you guys today. We've got some trades that happened this past week and some big wins and losses, of course, and we're going to be going through all of it to get you guys caught up. I'm also excited to announce that going forward from here, you can check the description of every single one of these videos, and you'll find a link in there that will take you to the league standings of our league. Our league is now officially viewable to the public, and you guys can check that link for yourselves and just spectate all of our teams. You can take a look at our waiver wire to see who's available in our league. You can look at the recent activity with all the trades, all the stuff that you guys could be interested in finding out. You can find there at that link without the ability to edit anyone's rosters, of course. But that's very exciting for you guys to be able to directly get in on the forefront of our league scoreboards and standings. So hope you guys enjoy that, and let's just get rolling with everything that happened in the last week. So we're going to start off with my team from week 5, and it was a close one, but I just barely managed to scrape away a win from Shane. I got extremely lucky with this one, but a win is a win, and we're just happy to be able to come down with it. You can see right off the bat, just glaring issue on Shane's roster is that T. Higgins and Darren Waller both dropped him some goose eggs, which was really in my favor during this matchup. T. Higgins is still recovering from an ankle sprain, and he was standing on the sidelines fully dressed for this game, but never actually saw the field, which really works out for me, like I said, but we hope that T is going to be back out there because he's a stud. He's fun to watch every week. Very unlucky L for Shane, especially because he caught me on an off week. Tyreek and Amon-Ra, Chris Godwin, all having kind of down weeks for their usual production. Amon-Ra in particular, the Lions didn't even score a single point against the Patriots. They got completely shut out. So their whole fantasy day was a wash for that team. Kamara finally starting to look like himself again, dropping 23 points. No touchdowns. All those got stolen by Taysom Hill. But that's plenty of points and yards and catches to be racked up by Kamara. It's just really good signs for him moving forward, especially when those touchdowns start coming in for him. Fournette as well, really breaking out this week and reminding everyone that he's a top 5 back when performing at his usual level of production. Russell Wilson, of course, had possibly the single most embarrassing loss of his career, and the entire Denver offense in general right now has got a lot of question marks about it. I guess we're all going to see how that unfolds by the end of the season, but big drama over in Denver right now with their $250 million quarterback, Russell Wilson. But in the end, this keeps Shane's team stuck at 1-4, tied at the bottom of the standings with, I believe, 4 other teams in our league. Yeah, it's still a mess at the bottom of the standings with a lot of teams being stuck in a tie. But this is where Shane's going to have to be for now. And there's not much else to say other than I got lucky with being able to sneak away with this win, but who knows how much easier it'll be down the stretch for both of our teams. And Shane's got a pretty respectable roster. I really hope he's able to get his shit together, and I'm sure that he will. Moving on to our next matchup between Connor and Graham. Now, this is something that you could consider it somewhat of an upset because a lot of us have been pretty favorable towards Graham's team. We've thought that he's managed to put together a decent roster. However, Connor managed to walk away with this one, and it's just another win and an impressive start to the season for Connor. Not a lot of us saw him being 4-1 this early in the season, but like I said, good for him. I mean, he's really got that going for him early. Nick Chubb has managed to remain consistent this season, which was really his only flaw back in previous seasons. I mean, he's always had incredible talent and done very well with the amount of carries he's given. Stevenson is really starting to break out and show he's legit over at the Patriots, so he might be exciting to watch for in the weeks to come. Devontae showed up big with a 27-point game. However, you might have heard that he was pushing a cameraman on the ground on his way back into the tunnel for the locker room at the end of the game. So Devontae could be possibly facing a suspension. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But all in all, I mean, Devontae looking good, especially. There's a lot of good signs that he's going to be able to keep up his production for the rest of the season. And then over at past Devontae's, Debo having a pretty week. I mean, 11 points. No one really knows where to value Debo right now, I feel. I mean, he finished at 3rd overall last season, but a lot of people were expecting a drop-off, at least in our league. It's what we were all expecting, and it's kind of true, but he's got his moments. Debo's Debo. 11 points is whatever, it's whatever you can get. Chris Olave, on the other hand, 15 points, really been showing lately that Olave is somewhat of a fantasy factor this season. I mean, it's pretty impressive that as a rookie, he's been able to put up double-digit weeks pretty much back-to-back since week 1. And he doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. It really all depends on the Saints' game plan and their matchup. But Olave being a real steal considering where Connor drafted him. Hawkinson, like his other fellow Lions teammates, managed to do just nothing with the day. And Zeke also showing how washed he might be at this point. It's crazy that Ezekiel Elliott is the highest paid running back in football. But over at Graham's team, I mean, other than Austin Eckler, you could just clearly see that everyone did not show up for Graham this week. I don't know what's up with it. I mean, Tua is still out right now and going to be out going into this next week. So that's really been holding back Jalen Waddle. And as far as A.J. Brown goes, he's probably clearly the number one receiver to Jalen Hurts, but it was Devonta Smith's time to shine this week, who ate up a lot of the targets. So A.J. Brown had a much quieter week than usual. And Joe Mixon really just not looking like himself lately, which would lead to Graham making a trade at the end of this week where he traded away Mixon, and we'll get into that later. But Mixon is not performing to Graham's standards, and he was actually removed from the team after this week. Overall, Graham's definitely got some players who have a chance to bounce back, but this further pushes him down the standings to also be tied with Shane and some others at 1-4. And Connor, just like I said, incredible 4-1 start that nobody really saw coming, but we'll see if he's able to keep it up down the stretch of the league. Our next matchup over here, this one's tough. I mean, Jason just can't seem to catch a break. He also falls to 1-4, with Jack getting a much needed win, putting some respect back on his team after losing to Mags the previous week. Rough break for Jason. I mean, he got Jack on a week that he was just really pissed off coming off that loss, so Jason never really had a shot. I mean, a 120-point week on Jason's end is not the worst in our league, even just this week to begin with. However, Jason's team might be starting to get exposed for its biggest question marks, such as Hunter Renfrow, who has not been as productive as he was last season. Thielen also looking like he might be potentially washed, only having about 2 games, I think, with double-digit points. This week in particular, Thielen could not get it done. And Cortland Sutton suffered from just the overall lackluster performance by the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. I mean, if you saw that game, you can't blame Sutton. It was just a shit show the entire stretch of the way. It was only ever field goals. They got nothing done on offense that day. It's just a wash. Dameon Pierce, however, who he acquired in a trade with Jack a few weeks ago, is looking to be somewhat consistent in the last few weeks. And I mean, hey, maybe he can be promising. He's going into his bye week now for this coming week, so we're not going to be able to keep on measuring where he's at. But I mean, I guess he's promising, and he's probably the brightest spot on Jason's team to look at right now. Najee in particular, though, I mean, he was a first-round pick in our league. I'm pretty sure he went 8th overall. This is just an extremely underwhelming season so far for Najee. I definitely think that Kenny Pickett getting into the lineup could potentially move things in the right direction going forward, but there's been no sign of it up until this point, so we're just going to have to see how that works out. But I mean, goddamn, Najee really heavily underperforming. And in the end, it looks like Jack just had the better players. I mean, Hurts has been having an incredible start to this season. James Conner kind of underperforming as well, though. He had another dud week. Big question mark over at the Arizona backfield. David Montgomery, though, showing up, nice 18 points, as well as Justin Jefferson doing his thing with a 30-point game. Stephon Diggs also managing a nice clean 24. Brandon Cooks, though, not looking so great. I mean, if you ask me, that's more just because he's playing on the Texans. You get what you can with Davis Mills. Cooks is a talented receiver, by far possibly their best player on offense to begin with, but it's the Texans, so what can you do? And Freiermuth, the Muth, down at tight end, not really performing at a top 10 fantasy tight end level currently. Although Devonta Smith could be a bright spot for Jack going down the rest of the season. I mean, he's gotten some bigger games lately that just weren't there last season, and Hurts seems like he's starting to trust him more. He's got that Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith combo. I guess we'll have to see if Smith is able to keep it consistent, because he also has a goose egg this year already, and just some other, I mean, he's a little unproven, but he could be on the right track right now. And in the end, Jack gets a very much needed win that puts him just above all of the 1-4 teams in our standings, which we'll be taking a closer look at later. And Jason is now stuck tied at the bottom at 1-4. However, Jason is still currently ranked ahead of B Mags, who has put up the least amount of points in the league thus far. And we're going to be getting over to his game now, this next fucking matchup. You wait until you see this one. So B Mags talked the big talk in his interview last week, coming off his first win of the season, big upset against the commissioner. And we can't really say the same for him this week. I mean, he just got absolutely fucking humbled, shit pumped, destroyed, and spat back out. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This was just not happening for Mags this week. Seemingly everything was going wrong for Mags that could possibly go wrong, and at the same time, everything that could possibly go right was just falling in Zach's favor. I mean, right off the bat to start the Buffalo game, Gabe Davis caught like a 98-yard touchdown. Absolutely absurd start to the week, and then managed to grab another massive touchdown that had him finishing 32 points on the week. Huge week for Gabe Davis. Another usual big week from Josh Allen as well, the clear-cut #1 fantasy QB of the year probably. And Christian Mccaffrey reminding everyone that he was the #1 running back by a mile in previous seasons, and he's doing that again right now. 23 points this week. Really good signs for him going forward. I mean, he hasn't had a bad start to the season by any means at all, but, you know, to the McCaffrey standards of the past, it's definitely not lived up. So maybe this is a sign that McCaffrey is going to get back to his dominance, but we'll see how he does. DK finally proving to be consistent in this new Seattle offense without Russell Wilson. Geno Smith as well, showing that he can ball right now. I mean, he's a top 10 fantasy QB currently, and it's trickling down to his receivers in DK Metcalf. But then we look at Terry McLaurin over here. Another 12-point game for Terry McLaurin. In general, he hasn't had a bad season. However, given his expectations, I mean, he's definitely underperformed given where he was taken and where a lot of people expected him to be. There's been a lot of competition for the catches at the Washington Commander receivers, and Terry has been suffering because of it. But we'll see how he does down the stretch. Mark Andrews showing that he's blow for blow, best tight end with Travis Kelce in fantasy football. And Amari Cooper actually showing the fuck up this week with a clean 20 points. Very boomer bust player, but when he hits, it feels amazing. Meanwhile, like I said before, pretty much everything that could possibly go wrong did for Mags. I mean, Jared Goff just couldn't even score a single point against the Patriots. Derrick Henry, though, actually looking like himself again, and that's a huge upside for B-Mags. I mean, just huge opportunity for B-Mags if Derrick Henry can keep putting up his usual numbers. As for the rest of his team, though, I mean, Mags' defense has been consistently performing well, but Evans seemingly a little boomer bust, especially now that he has to compete with Chris Godwin. Pittman ended up getting traded, actually, at the end of this week. B-Mags not feeling too high on Pittman now that he's been playing with Matt Ryan. Romeo Doubs maybe has some potential as he works on his chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, but hasn't really been able to do a whole lot yet, and he couldn't really show up for Mags this week. Keenan Allen's still injured on Mags' bench. I mean, maybe when he comes back, he'll be able to really add some depth to the squad, really help carry. But this week was just another reminder for B-Mags that he's still bottom of the barrel of the league as of right now. And I bet if we were to interview him now, he wouldn't be as cocky as he was the last week. Although it was good effort from Mags as usual. Good effort, but Zach just was fucking better. What can you do? And for our final matchup, we've got the biggest matchup of the week, the headline event. The big undefeated rivalry between BBQ and Jamie. Now, as you guys can see, BBQ managed to win over here and remained 5-0, Jamie dropping to 4-1. And there's a lot that we can say about this game, but we're going to be cutting away to our interview now with BBQ. We've got an exclusive interview with the only remaining undefeated team. So we're going to cut away to my interview with BBQ, and we're going to go over his game with Jamie this previous week and talk lots more about where his team is going to be the rest of the season. So hope you guys have enjoyed this recap, and let's get on with the interview. Okay, welcome everybody to our exclusive interview with the only remaining undefeated owner of our league, BBQ, the owner of My Kicker is Gay. Brian, how are you feeling coming off your hot win against Jamie?
It's a close one, but we got the job done. all that matters.
I think you had it by the end. By Monday night, it was looking good. I
was a little nervous just because Kelsey was going off. Luckily, he didn't have that many yards. So.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns and only 25 yards. Literally all those yards counting for the touchdowns, I think, nearly.
Yeah, just about.
But yes, it was relatively somewhat close. We could actually take a look at the matchup right here. 144 to 131, I believe. Travis Kelce making a last-second push for Jamie, but it wasn't enough. And it didn't help that BBQ had Patrick Mahomes on the other side, so that definitely was not... That was going to cancel each other out.
Yeah, that was the only reason why I was stressing, because he was throwing only to Kelsey in the end zone.
But Clyde finally came back down to earth, which feels good for all of us, I think, considering how annoying he's been. I mean, I got his stats right here. He's had less than 9 carries every game, except week 4, despite, like, top 4 running back numbers in fantasy up until last week. I mean, it's about time he came back down to earth. Lucky for you there.
Yeah, and him not having Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor being hurt definitely didn't help. But Breece Hall showed up. I mean, 27 points. Like, yeah. Breece Hall kind of becoming somewhat of a force. He's position rank 9 right now. Not shabby at all for this down year of running backs. Although, so now we take a look at the standings over here. BBQ only remaining undefeated team, 5-0. And I got to say, what are your thoughts for the rest of the season? I'm guessing you're not too worried about missing the playoffs, but do you think your team has what it takes to keep up the steam? I mean, in fairness, if we look at points allowed over here, you have the easiest schedule in the league. Do you think that your team can hold in for the long run, or do you think you've been lucky?
I think they could hold it in. I mean, I've just, got to focus on the next week.
Right.
I'm not worried about the playoffs right now. I'm worried about Shane.
Okay, you're worried about Shane, right?
The fat clam on my face.
Yeah, current week matchup. I like to hear it. Okay, very focused on what matters.
So I just got to focus on beating Shane. I'm not really focused too far ahead.
Well, I'm looking at your team right now, and I've been asking a lot of the other owners this too about themselves. Going down the lineup of your team, I think you got a solid roster all around, but where would you say are your weakest points? What are you most questionable or concerned about with your lineup? And maybe what are you looking to upgrade?
Upgrade probably running backs, just because I feel like I have solid RB2s for all my positions.
I mean, I'd give Dalvin a bit of an edge, but he definitely hasn't been the old Dalvin.
But he hasn't been playing like how he should be playing.
Right. So that is questionable, sure. But your receivers, all that, pretty satisfied?
Yeah, I guess I'd probably want to upgrade Deontay just because, the Pittsburgh's. So. Yeah,
I mean, Pittsburgh is kind of rough right now, but Kenny Pickett maybe could be promising. I mean, and Josh Jacobs on your bench, though, he's worth mentioning as well. Josh Jacobs has been doing pretty well lately, position rank 4.
No, yeah, he's been doing amazing. He's going to be in the starting roles for sure.
Looking at his fucking game log, though, it's only 2 30-point games. The rest kind of RB2 numbers at best. I mean, so yeah, I can see what you're saying.
1 week, which isn't terrible, but isn't great.
Right. I would say, though, surprisingly, Marquise Brown has been consistent for you after he was somewhat inconsistent last season. I think the move to the Cardinals is a big benefit for him overall. I'd definitely say. Although his drops are definitely frustrating to watch. I don't know if you've watched them, but
no,
he's got
he
some.
He gives up.
Yeah, he could be ranked a little higher, but hey, he's doing pretty good for himself, so no need to panic there. Although I will say, Jamar Chase, is he performing to your expectations, under your expectations, or what do you think about him right now and going forward?
Jamar?
Well, yeah, Jamar dropped 28 points week 1 and then has failed to score more than 12 points ever since.
He's still getting double digits, though, so that's huge in the long run.
Double digits from, but 7th overall pick in the draft, first round. I mean,
he could be doing better, but as long as he's putting up points, I'm fine with him.
Okay, so you're not too concerned, not too anything like that. You think he'll hold in, and
he'll definitely reach top 5. towards the end of the season.
All right, so you're betting top 5. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad
I mean,
bet
he's
at all.
13th right now.
I would say it's a safe bet because his talent is definitely there. I mean, you'll just have to see if he picks it back up. I think it really has a lot to do with how they decide to utilize T. Higgins. I think that has more to do with it because they definitely compete and go back and forth. But
no, yeah, it's either one or the other.
But, and then I guess we'll move over. Like you said, you're focused on this week, your matchup against Shane, who previously just lost to myself. Just want to throw that out there. Haha. But we'll take a look over here. So Shane looks like he's starting Russ still at this point. He's got the usual suspects for his team: T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, Miles Sanders, Leonard Fournette, Irv Smith in at tight end. That's a wild change.
Yeah, it's a shame he couldn't have Dawson Knox.
Right. It is a shame that he couldn't have Dawson Knox, who's currently on your bench. What a power move. But he did steal Kenneth Walker from me to throw in at flex, who is the rookie running back at the Seahawks that's now going to be replacing Rashad Penny, who's out for the year. And I definitely dropped him at a bad time. So, yeah, rough break. We missed out on that one. But I guess looking at this matchup head-to-head, you're projected in the same ballpark. I mean, you got a solid 6 points projected ahead of him. Projections don't mean shit, though. What do you feel going into this matchup? Is this the week you get upset by Shane? Who's hungry? Shane is hungry for a win at this point. Are you worried at all? What matchups in particular do you think you
The only players I'm kind of worried about are Cooper Kupp, Walker, and probably T, because he could steal from Jamar. But
well, Delaney Kenneth Walker is who you meant. I thought you meant Waller for a second.
No.
But right, T and Jamar is probably the most head-to-head matchup you've got. One is going to do better than the other, and we'll have to see who that one will be. But you're not concerned with Jerry Jeudy at all, it seems like, or even did you say Miles Sanders?
No, because that's a primetime game, and they're two of the best defenses. So it's going to be a
Sunday Night Football
game.
primetime.
Yeah.
Right. So you think that? So you're saying you think the Cowboys will win against the Eagles?
There's a possibility.
It's definitely a possibility, but that's more of
I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't either. It's definitely going to be a close game. Two very good defenses. Might be a rough game for fantasy in general, but you're still thinking overall it's a safe win against Shane. You're not too concerned. You seem pretty confident.
Well, there's no such thing as a safe win unless you're playing Mags.
Okay. Oh, shade. Strays being caught. Yikes. Okay. But
yeah, he caught a huge stray. But,
okay, so you're not totally calling your shot here, calling your win, but you're feeling good.
No.
All right, I like to hear it. And I guess that's a good segue into our next conversation over here. I'm really curious what you think of the rest of the league. I mean, look, I'm looking at the standings right now. 4 members of our league are tied at 1-4. All right, and then you got the commish just barely hanging in at 2-3, barely on the cusp of 500. What do you think about the current landscape of the league? Who do you think is overrated, underrated, and who do you think is going to stay at the bottom?
For underrated, definitely Graham. I feel like Graham's team should be way better than what his record shows.
He did just make a big trade with Mags this past week where he traded Joe Mixon. And I believe, hang on, we could pull up the trade right here real quick. Let's see. Recent activity. I will go on the record saying that I believe Mags won the trade, but Graham is very down on Joe Mixon currently. So.
Yeah, which, I don't know. I'm about.
Well, here's the trade right here. I just pulled it up. So Graham traded Joe Mixon, George Pickens, and Samanje Pirine, the handcuff to Mixon, for Travis Etienne and Pittman. Now, I would say personally, I think Pittman's a little scary right now with the way Matt Ryan has been playing. I think Etienne actually has some upside over James Robinson, but it really depends on how things end up shaking up, how they end up using him over there. And George Pickens, I think, has some decent potential with Kenny Pickett getting put into the starting role. So what do you think of this trade overall? Who do you think won the trade?
I don't know. Just because there are things I like about it and things I don't.
Well, Graham did need a
Like,
receiver. His receivers were lacking a bit.
yeah, so he definitely upgraded on receiver. I just wouldn't have taken ETN.
You don't
I'm
like
not a
ETN
fan
at
of
all?
ETN. No.
Not at all.
You know, having the inside sources of Duval County, Bumba, not many people are big on ETN.
You're close to the people down in
I'm
Duval.
close, yeah.
Okay. They're not very big.
Yeah,
Jags
you know,
Nation, not very hype on
oh
ETN.
no, if they're a part of Jags Nation, they've been a part of Jags Nation their whole life. They don't hop on teams' dicks like you.
Oh, okay. That's a bit of that's uncalled for, but okay. You know.
I mean, you literally have your own division teams. So
Yeah. The Bumbalicious Super Bowl contenders. That's
yep.
Those
Chargers,
are my
Bucks,
posse.
Bengals.
Yeah. You know, as I'm currently wearing my Bucks shirt in New England. Back to the topic at hand. So you think that Graham needed a receiver, but you're not very big on ETN. But what do you think about Mixon then? Do you think Mixon was worth letting go while you still had value, or do you think he's going to turn things around?
If he's gonna turn things around, he needs to do it this week. If he has another 11-point game, I don't think he's gonna be worth it in the end.
I mean, solid running back 2 numbers enough, I would say. And I mean, to pair that with Eckler, who Graham had previously, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see if Pittman turns out to be a worthy investment. But Matt Ryan is the real question mark to the equation, I'd say. And Pickens is yet to be fully understood. I mean, Pickens has been doing a lot better lately, and Kenny Pickett being there, like I've said, is more upside than sticking with Mitch Trubisky. So we'll have to see how that works.
I mean, as a Bulldog fan, I hope George Pickens does amazing. He's already proven that he can be good on the field. So they definitely need to utilize him more.
Right. He's a dog. Okay. Certified dog.
He is a dog.
Gotcha.
He's got that dog in him.
Okay. Fair enough. But you'd say most underrated team would be Graham's team. What's the most overrated team now? Who thinks that they're good?
Strictly based on record, I'm going to go Connor.
All right, based on record, you're going with Connor. And that's not a horrible pick considering he has the second easiest schedule in the league by far, also not cracking 600 points allowed. And he has only managed to put up about 632 in total, which is almost 100. Like, it's a good 70 to 80 points below what you've put up, giving you a little more legitimacy with your record. So what is it about Connor's team that you aren't buying? I mean, he's got Chubb, who's playing really well right now. Stevenson's got potential. What is it?
Player that I like.
He doesn't have a single player you like?
No, I would not want to trade with him.
You had Deebo Samuel last year. You don't like Deebo now?
He's not who he was last year, this year.
Okay, fair enough. I also kind of saw that coming. I wasn't big on him going into this season, but I guess I wanted to hear your take. Although Stevenson, is showing potential as well, right?
Cats are using him a lot more.
Yeah, they are using him more. And Chubb has been consistent this year, which he hasn't in the past.
Yeah, Chubb is the only running back I like on his team.
Right. But not a fan of Devontae, though. I mean, he's on bye this week, but Devontae?
I mean, he got arrested, pretty much. So.
He just got arrested. He's top 5 BBQ.
And he shoved the cameraman. That's a misdemeanor.
That's a misdemeanor? Yeah, he's going to be suspended. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But so you're calling Connor fake good team, I believe is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's kind of cool, especially since both of us last year were in the finals. Our teams literally were the first players taken.
Yeah,
if you noticed that.
all of me and BBQ's roster from last season, pretty much all of them went in the first round. I mean, it is kind of wild. Like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Austin Eckler.
Which some of them are going off, but it's weird to see only them going off for the team.
Ah, you see,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they play for us. I hear you. You know, and only. Yeah, our picks. Everyone's copycatting. I feel you. You think we're
everyone vultured.
Step ahead, a cut above. I feel you there. But I guess now the other question I have for you then is, who do you think is staying at the bottom? Like, out of the 1-4 teams, or maybe even you can lump the commission to this conversation. Who do you think is really going to be at the bottom of the standings come the end of the year or in the thick of the season?
Well, I don't know. Because it could be anyone, really. It could be even me. If I search.
I don't know. You would have to lose every single game at this point, and Mags would have to go on a win streak. So that is. I respect
it's possible.
I respect being humble, and you're right that things could go catastrophic, but you're most likely not going to be at the very bottom.
This is worst case scenario, Bumba.
I don't even think mathematically you could have 5 wins and be at the bottom. I mean, maybe lose the toilet bowl, but not the bottom, right? But
yeah.
Who do you really think is destined to stay at the bottom for the majority of the year?
Probably Mags and Jason.
Mags and Jason, just to call them out directly. I mean, we've taken a good look at Mags' team a little bit. Let's take a look at Jason's team then. What are your thoughts about the New York Frankies? He's going with a new meme every week in the profile photo. I'm a big fan. But other than that, what does he have going for him? What is it that you don't see? What is it that you're sus over?
I mean, just all his players, hella sus.
All of them. You don't like Kyler?
Yeah.
You don't like Kyler Phase 1, K1 Murray?
Coming out soon, Bumba.
What was that? Call of Duty?
Call of Duty's coming out soon.
No, yep, fair enough. The production is due to drop off. Gibson, not a huge fan.
He's top 5 right now. Hopefully he can stay there.
Not a fan of Gibson or Najee?
No.
No? Just no all around? Nothing?
Yeah, they're not, like, what they were projected to do this season, they have not done it whatsoever.
Najee in particular, I think. I mean, he went in the first round. Yeah, 8th overall, it says right here, to Graham's team. And that is definitely not first round type production, I would say.
Which if he was doing good and doing what he was supposed to be, he'd still be on Graham's.
Okay, fair enough. But then, I mean, move down. I think Sutton's okay. Sutton's all right? I mean,
I don't know. You were a big Sutton hater at the beginning of the year.
I wasn't a Sutton hater. I just wasn't a Sutton lover. Like, people were talking like Sutton's going to be easy top 10, maybe top 5, and I was like not jiving with that. But yeah, he's solid. I mean,
12.
Double digits. Fuck yeah, he's right around where I thought he'd be. Top 15-ish. Yeah. I mean, but Thielen, your thoughts on Thielen? He's not what's up with Thielen?
I mean, he as you put it, he's not who he used to be, so he needs to come back to that.
You're right, I agree. I think he's washed. But that's another
But
story.
you were hoping for a revive of Adam Thielen.
For one night when I was going against Justin Jefferson, and it worked. Thielen beat out Jefferson. Jefferson had a dud, and I beat the commish. It worked. But then Tyler Lockett. I am salty about Tyler Lockett because I drafted Tyler Lockett, as you can see here, and dropped him after week 1. And he took that personally when you can see his game log over here because he's just been He's kind of also having Tyler Lockett games, though. Yeah, he is having Tyler Lockett type games. You're right.
Where he gets like 4 catches, but it's like 200 yards or 100 yards.
Yeah, and it's a little scary to wonder if he'll actually keep up the production. I don't think he will. That's why I dropped him. But fuck, if I am not a little pissed, I could have traded him and shit like that. But yeah, and then Gerald Everett, you traded Gerald Everett to Jason recently. I believe the trade right here. Brandon Ayuk straight up.
Yeah, because when we talked about it, he just needed a tight end. And he did need a tight end. Well,
ironically, I mean, he has Kyle Pitts over here on his IR. He drafted Kyle Pitts, let's see, 22nd overall, 3rd round. He was the first tight end taken in the draft, ahead of Kelsey and Mark Andrews. And yeah, I mean, that speaks for itself.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on up in Atlanta, but if you got to have high potential in him to do good.
Right. I mean, I will say, though,
don't use him.
Of all people,
he is a different breed of tight end, though. So
true. I mean, he is different out there. You can tell, but
because he's not like huge, he's just like another just big receiver.
Yeah, he is one of those type of guys who should be doing better than he currently is. But I mean, the Falcons, that's kind of a shitstorm of a team currently, and they just got a new quarterback. It's a lot of stuff going on there. But like I will say on his bench and currently having a bye week, he did trade for Dameon Pierce with the commissioner. And
which was a good trade for him.
So far, it seems as though, I mean, Dameon Pierce currently at position rank 10, not too shabby since running backs have been having a slow year. But overall, you think Jason is going to stay at the bottom of the standings with Mags? I guess, who's then your pick to win the toilet bowl? Who's beating out the other? Is it Mags or Jason in the long run?
Well, I don't know if that'd be the toilet bowl matchup.
So, right, but hypothetical, which team?
If they were in the toilet bowl, I'd want Mags to lose. Because I think Jason's team is statistically better than Mags.
So you think Jason's team is a cut above B Mags's team, but
it's definitely better than B Mags's team. I mean, you could look at the stats. He's dropped more points and everything.
He has, but I mean, I am looking at Mags's team right now. It was relatively injured for a good point of time. It's a little bit healthier now. Henry is playing much more like himself lately, position rank 6 and 25, 23, 27 in the last 3 weeks. He's actually been catching the ball a little bit more as well, which is a little bit of a new thing for him. And I mean, he just acquired Geno Smith, who's technically a top 10 QB currently. He's got Mike Evans. Keenan Allen should be coming back. He recently acquired Joe Mixon. He still has Juju, which, I mean, yeah, we can laugh at that, but he still has Juju. He snagged Romeo Doubs. I mean, what? So you're putting this below Jason for sure? 100%?
Yeah. Also, Jason brought up a good point. If you look at Mags' schedule, he plays whoever Jason, I think. Or whoever plays Mags plays Jason.
Right.
So everyone wants revenge on Jason.
Right. The week after someone the week after someone plays Mags, yes, if we take a look over at Jason's schedule, Jason then plays them the next week. It is strange how that is set up.
Which that sucks.
It does suck for Jason.
Because if Mags starts going on that win streak, Jason's screwed.
Right.
Everyone's gunning for that win back.
Right, but then that further adds to what I'm saying. I mean, could Mags beat out Jason in the standings? I mean, fuck. You seem to be pinning it down to these two in a fight for the bottom. Are you telling me Mags has a chance to pull ahead?
Well, yeah, everyone has a chance, Bumba.
Okay.
Not everyone is just, I'm the greatest. Fucking last year.
Oh, yeah. Haha, calling me out for, yeah, well, I beat you last year. I beat you, Brian. I beat you. So what do you want, huh? What? Yeah. That's right. Okay. How many rings you got? How many rings? That's okay. It's okay. We didn't have to go there.
Have one.
We didn't have to go there. But I guess then.
I have terrible luck in fantasy football, so I'm taking it 1 week at a time this year.
That's another thing too to ask you about. So last year you won your first ever playoff game. Are you concerned this might be a repeat of what happened in 2015 or last year with your previously stacked teams?
I'm a little nervous about it, but we'll focus on that when the time comes.
Current projected playoff bracket says you most likely will have a first round bye, but going into that second round, you're not nervous. You're not. Are you feeling confident that you can even go all the way? Like, do you really think that this is a potential championship run this season?
I think it could be. Honestly, if this is to be the playoffs this week, or like, I would honestly need Zach to beat you.
Okay.
And then Jack maybe to lose to Connor. And then Connor just makes it to the championship.
So you want me wiped out early because you're scared of me and think I have a better team than Zach. Thank you.
No, I just don't want you in the playoffs anymore.
Oh, fuck you. That's just salt. That's just pure salt. Fuck. But I guess you're
I don't want any of the guys in the playoffs. I only want me.
Well, then no shit. Well, and you'll have the chance to fight for that at the end in week 17. But I'm assuming you're, based off what you said, it sounds like you're hoping that Connor makes it to the playoffs and then gives you an easy Super Bowl. It seems as though is that what you were going?
That'd be the easy route. But it would be cool if like you won and I had to face you to go to the Super Bowl and I just curb stomp you.
Right, you kind of want the revenge game. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I guess then that's my other question is, because I kind of asked this question to Mags too, then who do you predict to be in the Super Bowl matchup at the end of the season? Not barring any jinxes here, who do you expect to realistically face in the Super Bowl? Is there like a handful of owners you think are going to be up against you at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think if I'm in the Super Bowl, obviously if I could pick who I play, I'd pick probably Connor
Ouch, that's
or
some
Jack.
shade. That's some shade.
Connor or Jack, just because they're good teams, but like they're beatable teams. You can beat them.
Oof. Oh, he is not scared of the commissioner.
You have a beatable team too, Bumba.
Well, really? Fuck you. Your team's beatable. Your team's beatable.
Of course, my team's beatable.
We're gonna look at your score the other week with Zach, huh? Mr.
All
Beatable
about
fucking.
how you plan it out.
Yeah. I'm pulling up your score right now. 116. That looks pretty beatable to me, huh? What? Oh, what? I beat it that week. Huh? You're lucky you didn't catch me that week.
Yeah, you didn't face me.
Motherfucker, I should be undefeated.
You gotta
Fuck
beat
you.
your opponent.
Fuck you. I should be undefeated.
Zach, I ain't worried about you that week.
Yeah. So, who are you expecting to face in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. Whoever makes it, though, I know it's gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah. Say all the right things. Yeah. No, not start any.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, real fucking stuck up, Mister. You go undefeated. You think you just run the league? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But I guess then too. Who are some of your exciting matchups this week? Like this week, going in, we'll look at the scoreboard. I'm playing Graham. Kamish is playing Connor. Jason is playing Zach. You play Shane. Mags plays Jamie. Who are you looking at?
Mags versus Jamie easily is the best game of the week.
I was gonna say I'm a big fan of that matchup as well. I think it's very entertaining to take a
just because he doesn't talk shit, only talks shit to Mags. So I'm really rooting for Mags.
Oh, he talks a lot of shit to Mags, that's for sure. He definitely does. But I guess then
it would be cool. It'd be really cool to see Jason pull the upset just because of the projections. They're really snoozing on Jason.
People definitely have been snoozing on Jason. I mean,
But Zach's team is also very good.
Zach's team is very heavily projected over Jason's team. Zach's team projected 150 this week, with Josh Allen taking 26.9 of those projections. Kind of wild. But
yeah.
Taking down a look at Zach's team, though. I mean, Zach's team is
projections, Bumba.
Well, projections don't matter. They don't. But looking at Zach's team, though, Zach is definitely a potential playoff contending team that you might have to face towards the end of the season. You haven't said much about him yet. What do you think of his team in a potential matchup? I mean, you did beat him already, barely, but you did. And are you worried about him later in the season? Where do you think his team is going?
Yeah, definitely going to be worried later on in the season.
Later in the season.
I will say my kicker carried that matchup.
Your kicker is better than Young Ho?
Well, yeah. He scored all the points that he needed, and he scored all the points in the football game.
Okay, fair enough. Good argument there.
So,
can't argue with that.
The kicker was alpha.
Are you scared of anyone in particular on Zach's team in another potential matchup?
Well, Josh Allen, of course.
Josh Allen, he has not really screwed up at all this season yet, that's for sure. But Christian McCaffrey, he's sitting at position rank 5. Do you think he's going to explode to the top 3, top 2, or do you think he's going to sit around middle of the top 10?
If he stays healthy, I think he'll be top 3.
He'll be top 3 if healthy all year. Okay, fair enough. Gabe Davis exploded last week, dropping 32 points off of like 2 massive touchdown catches. What do you think about him in the long term? I mean, are you worried about Gabe holding down the fort? Zach's receiving core in general. Gabe, Amari, you traded to him.
I think this is going to be another T and Jamar situation. Because, I mean, if Stephon Diggs is going to be triple covered every play, he's got Gabe Davis wide open.
Right. Okay. So you think Gabe is a force to be reckoned with? DK, maybe a little scary. Amari, you traded Amari. Are you worried about Amari getting that revenge game against you? I mean,
I think he probably will. Amari all depends on how Deshaun Watson does when he comes back.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a very speculative situation. We have no idea how that's going to play out. That's for sure.
Yep.
Terry McLaurin, I'm just noticing this. On Zach's bench, your thoughts?
I mean, he's got Carson Wentz throwing him the football.
Ouch. Wentz has taken enough shade this week, I believe.
He has, but I mean, dude, do you want Carson Wentz throwing you the football?
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I guess then looking at big picture of the league, so you're expecting a potential championship run, it seems, being undefeated and all. Last question I guess I've got for you is, you beat Jamie's team to advance to undefeated. Now, I mean, what do you think of Jamie's team in the long run? Jamie was previous. This could have been Jamie's interview right here had he won that game. Do you think he's going to keep in the upper top 3-ish of the standings, or do you believe he's going to fall, potentially even miss the playoffs? Where do you see Jamie's team going?
I hope he falls. I really do hope he falls.
So you're hoping for his downfall.
Oh yeah.
All right.
You know, just because he tried to take the friendly approach and was like, "Go teams! Like, let's have a great matchup, Brian." I was like, "Fuck out of here, dude."
You're not having any of that nice guy bullshit. You're seeing right through that stuff. You think it's fake.
If I was Brian with an eyebrow, I'd be getting shit talked nonstop.
So
and he knows it.
You're not buying the ploy for the good karma. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Understandable. But I guess also one last thing. I forgot to ask you this sooner, just to close up. I mean, your thoughts going into the draft. Who were you really eyeing in the draft? Who did you miss out on in the draft that you wish you could have grabbed? And who are you satisfied with being able to snag? Like, who did you really hit on that you really wanted? And who did you miss out on?
Honestly, I went in blind. So
You went in blind?
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't do that much research into it. So I am happy I got another, got not great, not terrible running backs. And that was the goal for this season.
Right. I mean, you definitely stockpiled some running backs, and you don't have any bona fide barn burner studs, but you certainly got a lot of respectable running backs. Definitely some trade bait at the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that definitely is good to have.
If I had to judge my team, I think it's very middle of the ground. It will get me wins when I need wins, but I don't think it will ever drop 200 points.
So despite being undefeated, you still put your team somewhere middle of the pack. You wouldn't, in the power rankings, you would not put it at the top? No.
I mean, if you look at my players, they're all just they're good players.
Fair enough. But then
there's nothing outstanding really about any of my players.
So then who do you put at the top? Who would you say has the best team in the league? We've already gone over who has the worst. Who's the best?
I don't know. Let me take a look. Best would probably have to be Zach, just because he's got the big name players.
Okay. So you're big on Zach's team.
But slept on, I would have to probably say you, Bumba. You have a pretty solid team.
Really? That's a rare compliment.
But it's still beatable.
Still beatable. Okay. Well, anyone is beatable. Anyone is beatable. Okay. Listen to me, fucking. All right. Anyway,
you did call it though with Amon-Ra.
I did call it top 5 Amon-Ra. Everybody laughed. Bumba. Yep. How the hell could he score top 5? I went down the list. I put up the numbers. Enough said. Rest of my case. But thank you. All right. And I guess just to wrap this all up, any closing remarks? What are one of the last few things you would like to say in this interview? Anything to your potential fans who are rooting for you to finally win your championship this season? I mean, you've had a lot of close calls with your franchise. You're kind of the 90s Bills, I would say, as far as having really good runs but never quite closing the deal. What do you have to say to the people who are hoping for you to take it home this season?
We're taking it 1 week at a time, so we're focused strictly on Shane.
Oh, gee, you are focused. You are regimented.
Shane doesn't know it, but we've been watching film.
Watching film.
A lot of background research on Shane. The Kicker is Gay organization found out where Shane was born. That's how much research we're going into.
I love it. He ignored my question and focused solely on this week. So that means
Oh yeah.
he's not fucking around this season and he's ready for the long haul. Okay, I love to hear it then.
We take it 1 week at a time.
All right, so the fans of My Kicker is Gay can know that their owner is only preoccupied with what matters.
Yeah, so, Massachusetts General Hospital. That's what we're going to say.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
That's how much research we've been doing on Shane.
Oh, wow. Is that a threat? Is that a subtle threat?
We just know what Shane's going to do. We know who he's going to play, any last-minute decisions, we're already ahead on that. We know what Shane's doing this week, and we're going to stop him.
Damn, that is some real confidence. That's probably the most confidence, most teeth you've shown in this whole interview. But I want to thank you for your time in giving us this exclusive look behind the scenes at the only remaining undefeated team. And seems as though you've given your closing remarks. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be back with our next interview in the following week. I believe Graham would be the next person in line for his interview. Hope you all enjoyed. And this has been our last undefeated owner. Hope you guys, I don't know. See you later.
I've been bitches.